Sweet. Yeah, guys, please go vote. We're really curious to see who you guys think is going to be winning. But yeah, with that let's go ahead and introduce the players.
All right, we are going to be having Season Light being the red Protoss in the bottom left, going up against Gimix, who's also known as Pit. Actually, I'm gonna literally make his name Pit slash Gimix. I don't know what he wants to be displayed as. We've gotten this game too quickly to actually really talk to them, which is why I don't have better information for you. But he's going to be the green Terran in the top right. So we have ourselves a TVP. Once again, Light Esports really showing a very strong lineup as they're really making their showing on this Intel Extreme Master Singapore America's qualifier.
Yeah, and I mean, this can be a great opportunity for a lot of those breakout players. Both of us kind of saying we didn't know a whole lot about Pitt. I don't actually know. Do you know a whole lot about Pitt, who is Gimmicks, I guess, now that we know?
I really hope I'm not mixing up gimmicks with somebody else who was on EP, but I'm pretty sure it used to 1-1-1 a lot and
Mhm.
sort of do those kind of plays.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, so we'll see if he's gonna change it up or not be who I think he is and do something different. But it's also in Tune Valley, which is not the best 1-1-1 map.
Oh, yeah, especially since I believe this is forced cross positions on Entombed Valley. So, they should know that it's going to be a very long walk across the map if you decide to go for something like that. I'd like to see probably just standard Protoss versus Terran, go for the either one gateway expander, or I guess a Nexus first in the case of Light's player season.
Yep, and now this is, I mean, cool. We've already seen Command Center first, so I'm very interested to see how he's going to pull off this Nexus first. But already we do have gimmicks going for a gas, and we'll see what he's going to go for beyond that. And I believe it's disabled horizontal spawns, so it's either vertical or across.
Oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense. But yeah, I think it's going to come down to gimmicks, trying to put on a little bit of aggression. Probably going to grab either a Tech Lab or a Reactor. I'm thinking probably Tech Lab is going to try and put on a little bit of pressure. And we're going to have to see how well Season's going to actually be prepared for this.
Yeah, well, Season's pulling back his probe just to make sure it doesn't die. Just took one shot from the Marines, but we're gonna have continued production of these Marines, so he can build his factory now if he really wants to. But the question is, where will he build? Oh my God, he's just completely wait a second. He's actually going for it because he's pulling the
Oh,
Marines down there. He's not faking the bunker pressure. We have the Zealot that's only just not going down. He realized that it was a Nexus first. He sees that he's got an opportunity for this, and now we're seeing Season like positioning these. He's positioning well. He was positioning his probes really nicely, but there we go. He's actually going to be able to force the cancellation on this bunker, but their Marines are still coming down.
yeah, the Marines are still coming down, but the Zealot is now going to be out. So I feel like it's going to be very difficult for him to actually do a whole lot of damage here. I just want to note that, this isn't exactly an all-in by any means whatsoever. We have a command center actually plopping down as he's been saving up for that for a while. And oh my God, if he's actually able to get the Zealot, that'd be a really nice win. But I feel like the Zealot should be fine, especially since all these Marines are going to be on a timer until that Stalker comes out.
You know what? Gimmicks is completely changing his plan. He's actually, because he saw this Nexus first, he's no longer going for what he was going for at first. He's now up to 300 gas, has thrown down an additional 2 barracks as well as a command center. So he is completely adapting to what he's seeing from Season Light, and this makes me incredibly curious to see what he's going to be doing now. As whether or not it's going to be straight bioplay remains to be seen, but he's actually going to be able to pick off the Stalker. Meow, no,
Oof.
almost.
Stalker does get away with, orange hit points, and that's going to be really important for Season to actually keep alive. But Gimmicks has a really nice position at this Zelnanga Watchtower where we can kind of deny the scouting of that Stalker. That Stalker actually probably wants to be poking around and see what Gimmicks is up to. As you can actually see in the vision of Season, he actually doesn't have any of the base of Gimmicks actually scouted. So, I mean, obviously he can probably figure out where his opponent is and such, but he still has to be a little bit wary about all the different potential builds.
Yep, he is getting his robotics facility. It's almost done, so his observer production is going to begin, and that'll give him an idea of what Gimmicks is going to be doing. And Gimmicks is going to be tacking for a little bit of time. He's got combat shield halfway done. There's no stim started after that, and well, at least not yet, but he's getting down his eBay. He's preparing for later on. He's got his second refinery coming down, and he's going to be preparing to go for Starport Tech shortly. Just a matter of how quickly he wants to do it that I'm going to be watching for, because that aggression with drops and medevac play on Entombed Valley is so strong. I think that might be what he's going to be playing for.
Yeah, it definitely makes a lot of sense. Actually, if you just get a quick shot of the distance between the main and the natural expansion over right above the minerals, it's so easy for a drop to just be in that mineral line and then to immediately go straight up into the main. And if you look at the walk distance that the Protoss player will actually have to deal with, it's going to be quite annoying for Season if he is not prepared for those drops.
Yeah, it's one of those things that Terran love. But there's that observer moving across the map, and Gimix is just walking around this SCV. I think he's seeing if Season is going to be doing some kind of aggressive gateway play. He sees that there's no army out in front, and he's going to take this as a cue to potentially get another base, I guess.
Yeah, and I think this could end up working out well for him just because, again, on this map, against a big army pushout, it is a little bit easier to defend your third than on a couple of other maps, just because of that ramp and the ability to have, for example, the Colossus out, eating away at those Marines as they try and move up, and also the force fields being so useful for every Protoss player. And, I mean, again, I feel like the biggest thing is going to be defending against drops. You can even see the distance between the third and the main. I mean, that's a short distance for a drop to go, but that is a long distance for ground units actually have to go through.
Yeah, the thing is though, Blink Stalkers can go across that little ridge, and that would be a really important thing for Seasons to prepare for. We see the Twilight Council is coming down now. He's getting this armor upgrades, the level 1 armor upgrade. He hasn't gotten any attack upgrades yet. He's got a Colossus on the field, but no extended thermal lance started. And at this point, he really should have that started, but did he forget it? He's getting Blink right now, but that he really needs that extended thermal lance.
Yeah, this is kind of interesting. He's been delaying it for quite a bit of time, and I guess he maybe just wanted to get Blink up first. Hopefully he does actually realize this, but in the meanwhile, we actually take a look at the upgrade research, and we can actually see with +1 armor finishing up for Season, we actually see Gimix going for +1 weapons, so that should relatively even out the upgrades. As this matchup is probably one of the most important matches for upgrades.
I definitely agree with that statement. Now we're having Gimix pushing forward, or Pit, or whatever he wants to be called. He's pushing out with the +1 weapons, and there's an observer sitting here right at the watchtower, but will there be a scan to see it? If Gimix pays attention, there is this shimmering that he could scan on top of, but he will not be doing that. This factory will be getting the scout off, and he'll be able to confirm that this third is down. But the question is, does Season have enough force fields to really position us perfectly for his Colossus?
Yeah, there are those medevacs, so we could see some really cool medevac drop, Michael, but actually see just dancing back and forth between these two players. This situation is really tense, as just a little bit of miscontrol, just overcommitting a little bit from Gimix, and instantly there could be a ton of force fields drop down. And at the same time, if Season is just a little bit late on his force fields or his unit movement, he could end up getting in a really bad situation, ends up losing his Colossus, and that could just be game ending for either side.
Yeah, but additional 4 gateways are being thrown down. Season does have vision of a lot of the base, and this third has now officially been taken. So these 3 Colossi are pushing forward.
Season moving out.
Oh, the nice little shots go off, but they're baiting those Marines and everything back into range of the Colossus. Another blink forward, doing a great job picking off the medevacs, and there we have the spread. The Guardian Shield is up, covering a lot of those zealots. Colossi are taking no shots whatsoever. They're just happily slicing away at Gimix, and this is looking to be a very good Protoss engagement.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. Only Zealots really being lost in this engagement for the Protoss player, and even continuing to do those blink forwards. Every single one of those medevacs that was in the army got picked off, and that's going to be huge. We can actually see that right now Gimix wants to be producing Vikings. He needs to have an answer to this Colossus count, which is going to be going up to 4 very soon. And, I mean, you have to decide, do I make Vikings or do I make medevacs? I only have 1 starport.
Yeah, that's going to be really rough. The fact that he hasn't built another one is showing like he's preparing to. Cause it's got this reactor that's just empty. That's just begging for a starport to be built on it. But he's actually going to be building down these couple of racks. He's got the money to put down a starport, but he's just choosing not to. His third is just really starting to kick in, and Season's had his for a fair bit of time, already mining a couple hundred from every single one of those patches.
Yeah, and he actually might be looking to take a hidden fourth expansion up in the top left-hand corner, and that could actually be really, really good if Gimmicks doesn't end up scanning. But no, sends the probe away. Kind of curious what that probe was doing there, or if it's just a really distant proxy pylon.
It's also the pylon that's great for scouting for drops, because that's something that can really get Gimmicks
Ooh.
back into the game by setting drops along the edge of the map. That gives great vision of it. You see Season being really careful for that as well, and the fact that he's got a photon cannon as well as a high Templar sitting out of his natural expansion. And if you take a look at his tech and his main base, charge is almost done. His +3 armor is researching. His +1 weapons has still not been researched. And as far as the Templar tech goes, the Aside Storm is a third of the way done. He is really going to be becoming scary within the next few minutes.
Yeah, and one really interesting note as he does decide to move across the map and just looks like he's going to take a little bit of a roundabout path, maybe do a little bit of scouting with his entire army. But we actually have the gravitic drive that just finished up researching. I think that's the Warp Prism speed. So yeah, we have actually a Warp Prism coming out next from the Robotics facility. Could see some really nice Warp Prism play from behind while the entire main army moves up the ramp. Really curious to see what he's planning with that.
And now we're going to be seeing the big engage. Oh, I can't take with the UI. All right, now we're pushing forward as Gimix is going to take in. Ooh, couple losses. Pick off of a nice air unit down there by Season Stalkers. This is really great stalker control that Season is showing us by picking off all his medevacs. But now the big engagement's happening. Charge is really streaming forward a lot of those Zealots. The Colossi are just happily swiping away. I don't think anyone's actually gone down yet. There's the first Colossus going down now. We've got one more that's close to falling, but you know what? It doesn't even matter because there's just so much damage being done. These Zealots are tanking everything. Gimix is 1-1 versus +3 armor, and there is the GG getting called, and that will be giving game number 1 to Season.LighT. Really, really great game. Very solid PBT. There were no real holes in his play, and that was one of the most impressive aspects there, because we're just looking forward, and there was never an opportunity for Gimix to really push it against Season.